Military power can win battles, but it does not guarantee you win in a war. And right now, the United States and Israel are at risk of learning that lesson again. We are watching a conflict with Iran unfold where, on paper, the outcome should be obvious. The U.S. and Israel have overwhelming military superiority, technology, air power, intelligence. But wars are not decided on paper. They are decided by strategy. And right now, strategy is exactly what appears to be missing. We've seen this before. In the Vietnam War, the United States dominated tactically, but failed strategically. In Afghanistan, 20 years of military success didn't produce a stable end state. Those weren't failures of strength. They were failures of clarity, undefined objectives, shifting goals, and no clear path to victory. And Iran is not Afghanistan. Iran is not an insurgency. Iran is a state, a structured military, missile capabilities, naval disruption power, geographic depth, a large population. This is not a force you dismantle. This is a country you can damage, but not easily control. And we're already seeing contradictions. The U.S. is escalating militarily, deploying additional forces, including elements like the 82nd Airborne. At the same time, it has allowed Iranian oil at sea to reach global markets. So on one hand, we're fighting Iran, and on the other hand, we're enabling revenue to flow into their economy. That's not strategy, that's competing priorities. Then we get to the most dangerous development, the discussion of targeting Iranian energy infrastructure, power plants. Let's be clear what that means. Power plants don't just support the military. They power hospitals, water systems, food distribution, civilian life. And when you threaten that, you don't just escalate the war, you expand the battlefield. Because Iran has already made it clear, if their infrastructure is hit, they will respond. Gulf energy facilities, desalination plants, Israeli systems. This is how you open Pandora's box. Now look at the global picture. Allies are hesitant. Some are stepping back, not necessarily abandoning the U.S., but not fully committing either. And in the Middle East, that matters, because Gulf states are watching closely. If they start to question U.S. protection, they will hedge towards China, toward Russia. That's how influence shifts, not overnight, but gradually. And then there's the American public. Support for this conflict is already weak. And history tells us, as long as wars stay distant, support can hold. But the moment American troops start coming home in coffins, everything changes. Deployments like the 82nd Airborne raise a critical question. Is this deterrence or the first step toward a ground war? Because if the United States enters a land war in Iran, that's not escalation, that's transformation. All of this leads to the most important question. What does victory look like? Is it deterrence? Capability reduction? Regime change? Right now, there is no clearly defined answer. And without an end state, strategy becomes reaction, and reaction leads to escalation. Now, to be fair, there are arguments for this approach. Some say strong threats are necessary for deterrence. Others say Iran poses no real threat to U.S. interests and allies. Those concerns are valid, but they don't solve the core problem. Because the greatest danger here is not military defeat, it's strategic failure. Winning battles while losing the bigger picture. History doesn't punish nations for being weak. It punishes them for using power without strategy. And that's the risk we're facing right now.